As you all probably know, or I assume you know, considering how crowded it is right now, we're here for Alessia Cara. Applause, applause, applause. Yep. She just put out her debut album, Know It All. It's fantastic, as I'm sure you all probably already know. Ladies and gentlemen, Alessia Cara. Here she is, here she is, here she is. What's going on? Welcome.
Hello? Hi. Thanks for being here, guys. Appreciate it.
So how does it feel to finally have this album out?
It feels amazing. I mean, it's been 2 years in the making, literally, and then 19 years in the making mentally. But it's just so cool to finally get it out. You know, I've had to hide these songs for so long and make sure no one else heard them and keep them safe, and now the whole world can hear them, and that's awesome. I'm so glad that, you know, it's out finally.
And you've been performing some of them, and some of them I remember hearing they were maybe going to be on the EP, but then weren't.
Yeah.
What's the reaction been like for you so far? Just from the crowd. I mean, it looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, the fact that people are here is awesome. Thank you. The reaction has been amazing. You know, when you release one song, you're always worried about how people are going to react to the other ones. You know, you're always like, I just hope they like the other stuff, and I hope that they don't think I'm just one type of artist. But everyone has been so amazing, and they've embraced the EP and the album like so well. So I'm glad, relieved, and glad.
Speaking of one song, I'm sure what you're referring to would be Here, right?
Yes.
Everyone knows that song, or else you wouldn't be here. So that song is very different than the rest of the album in some ways. Were you nervous about making that song your first statement?
I don't think I was nervous. I think that was the right choice for me, and I just kind of had this gut feeling that that's what I wanted to go with. And, you know, as a new artist, it's always good to make a first impression and to kind of stamp yourself and say, this is who I am as an artist. And I thought that song would do that perfectly. You know, it would kind of take me away from the pool of everyone else and just saying, this is what I'm about and this is me, and yeah.
What do you think it was specifically, like in the message of that song, that really represents you?
I think you know, it's just me saying that I'm brave enough to say that, you know what, just because this is what everyone else is saying, that parties are so amazing. Because for those who don't know, I wrote a song about this party that I hated and I felt so uncomfortable at. So I really wanted to show a different perspective, and I wanted to say, like, this is me. And, you know, there are kids who don't enjoy stuff like this, and there are kids who don't feel like going to these places, and I'm one of them, and I'm not afraid to say that. And, yeah, that's just what it was about, pretty much.
When was the last time that you were actually at a party that inspired Here? Like, there's a party that you just had to leave? Because now that you're becoming a star, you probably have to go to like all types of parties that you don't want to be at all the time.
You know what, you'd think, but I think based on my song, people just don't invite me because they're just scared. I don't know. But I haven't been invited to one, which is good for me. But yeah, they just don't invite me anymore, which is good.
I'm sure after this album, you're going to have to go to so many horrible parties.
Oh, gosh. We'll probably have some Here part 2 and 3 and 4 and all.
Right. Do you think it's important, or do you think one reason that the song has sort of taken off is that there's not a lot of songs out there? Most songs are kind of about celebration. You turn on the radio, it's about having a party.
Yeah.
It's not about not wanting to be at a party.
Yeah, it's true. And I feel like at first it was kind of iffy for me because it is kind of like not a miserable song, but it's not very uplifting, and it's not very, you know, but it's just about making a statement and saying, you know what, this is my perspective, and no one ever talks about that one person who's not enjoying themselves, you know, and if people can write about heartbreak and sad stuff, why can't I write about not having fun at a party? I think that you can write about anything and make anything, you know, into a song, so I thought, why not? It's a cool perspective.
And tell us about the video, because if I recall, the video is also specifically inspired by that party as well. Yes,
yeah. I invited all the real people from the party to play their actual roles in the video. So the guy throwing up is the real guy who was throwing up at the party and all that stuff. So I really wanted to recreate it like the best that I could, just to really paint that picture again, just for everybody to understand what it was like, because the song itself is so visual, so I thought the video should match that and be exactly what was going on. So that's what it was. Those are the real people.
And how do you think it's different from the rest of the album?
I think conceptually it fits in perfectly. Because it's just, you know, the whole album, I think, is about youth and growing up and what that's like. And there's themes of rebellion, there's themes of vulnerability, and I think Here fits in perfectly with that. But I think sonically it stands out because it has this 90s kind of trip-hop vibe that really inspires me, and it's part of one of my influences. But I think the whole album in general is just really sonically different, and the thing that keeps it cohesive is the concept. But sonically, it's kind of everywhere. There's like bits of trip hop, there's like old school, there's ballads, there's pop, there's like everything.
And your voice keeps it consistent too, which is just a beautiful voice.
Oh, thank you.
And so, all the different sounds. Has anyone actually been like surprised, or have you gotten any almost negative feedback? Because a lot of people, when they first heard the song, I mean, I think it's an amazing album, but
thank you.
When they first heard the song, a lot of people thought you were, partly because you're on Def Jam, maybe thought that it was going to be, you were going to be a straight ahead R&B artist or more of a hip hop influenced artist, but it's a pop album overall, I'd say.
It is, yeah. I would say it's probably like alternative pop, pretty much. Yeah, that was one thing that I was kind of iffy about, again, because I just put out a song that was one way, and that's why I think it was important for me to release the EP before the album, so I could give people a taste of who I am as an artist and say like, look, this is who I am. I have pop music, I have R&B, I have ballads, I have this kind of sound. So, it's not like I just had one song and then I released an album of 13 songs that are completely different. I didn't want to shock people like that. I just wanted to show people ahead of time, like, this is who I am, before I release the big guy.
And to go back to the beginning, just of your life, even before your career, you're from Toronto, and it's actually interesting to me, some of the album, Toronto, let's hear it, Toronto. Okay, okay, all right.
Specifically Brampton? Do you guys know where Brampton is?
Brampton.
Yeah? Awesome. Yeah, that's where I'm from, specifically.
Right.
Brampton,
it's a small town outside of Toronto,
yes,
right?
like just outside Toronto, yeah.
Got you. And it's interesting because some of your music to me sort of, if you think about like you're at a party, but you're not necessarily happy to be there, and then you think about other artists from Toronto, Drake, The Weeknd, they also kind of have a little bit of like, they're not always cocky and celebrating. They sort of have like a dark and sometimes low self-esteem side to their, like they're very vulnerable in their art too. Is there something about Toronto, like something in the water there? I have no clue.
Yeah, we're all just really sensitive people.
It's cold. It's really cold, so I don't know.
It's cold, yeah. We're just always crying and it's sad. No, I don't know, it's kind of weird. Yeah, we all do have like a similar thing. I think there's definitely like this whole new wave of music coming out of Toronto now with like Drake, The Weeknd, Bieber, and like Shawn Mendes, me now, which is awesome. A whole bunch of people, yeah. I think it's really cool. There's like this whole new wave and this whole sound, the party next door even, this whole really dark kind of vibe that I really like, but I don't know if it's anything specific. I think Canada's overall happy. We're not that sad.
And also, you're Italian on both sides, right?
Yes, Italian.
And how do you think, from what generation?
Both my parents, are...
They're from Italy.
Yeah, my dad was born in Canada and then raised in Italy. And then my mom was immigrated from Italy to Canada.
That's what I heard. Yeah. They were like, she's Italian.
Yeah,
not
I'm like real
a
Italian.
little Italian.
Yeah.
So how did that influence your music at all, or just, just in terms of your childhood?
A little bit, I guess, yeah. I mean, my mom always listened to like contemporary Italian music around the house and stuff, so maybe I picked up, like, there's like a big pop scene in Italy too, so maybe I picked some stuff up from that subconsciously, I guess.
Right. Or maybe not, I don't know. But
I think I might have, maybe. I don't really know. I did not really conscious of it, but I might have.
Yeah. And there was also, your lyrics are so honest. That's one thing really just about life. And I remember from an article that we did in Billboard that you had this phase as a kid where you would lie all the time.
Yeah.
You would make up crazy stories. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I don't know why I did this. I don't have an answer, but I would lie all the time. I would make up stories. I loved I guess I loved the idea of entertaining people. I always loved being an entertainer, and I guess I hadn't really discovered singing yet. So I thought a good way to entertain would be like telling fake stories that weren't true. And I would just do that all the time. I would lie, make up stories, write actual stories, and I just had a big imagination, I guess. I don't know. It's pretty bad.
And so when did you discover singing? You said that you didn't discover it at first. It sort of took you a little bit of time. So,
well, I always liked it, and I was always doing it privately on my own, but I never really realized I could make a career out of it or actually do it. And I was always so shy to do it, and I think it took me just getting older and growing up and getting more comfortable in my skin to be like, okay, I think I could do this. Like, this is possible, So as I got older, I just got more and more determined and more focused. But as a kid, I was just like, oh, it's a hobby, but you can't really... no real people do this for a living. Like, it's not going to happen to me. But as I got older, I was like, never mind. Yeah, it can happen to me.
Wait, was there a moment when the light bulb went on when you first realized, okay, this is what I want to do?
I don't know. I think I always just had that in the back of my mind, like, this is what I wanted. It was just a matter of could I do it or not. But I always knew that I was just meant to do it. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things that I knew that I had, and that I was just waiting for the right time to pursue it, I guess.
And when you first started pursuing it, at least in terms of the outside world, it was through YouTube, right?
Yeah.
You would do YouTube covers. YouTube. What were some of the songs that you were first covered and that kind of set you on that path?
I think I posted one, well, it started on Facebook. I did one cover on Facebook of Adele's One and Only. Do you know that song? Yeah, I did that. That was the first time my family members and friends ever heard me sing. And then I went to YouTube and I sang Price Tag by Jessie J. And I love that song. I love Jessie J too. And but I had this really crappy, awful guitar, and I was playing it on the neck. I don't know why I was playing up here. I don't know why it was so bad, but it's still up there. I didn't delete it. But so if you want to laugh, you can go scroll all the way to the bottom of my YouTube channel.
And so how did it go from there? You have, like a lot of people, you have all these videos on YouTube, but when did it actually start to snowball and become something and become a career? How did that happen?
I think for me, my story's a little bit different than, your typical, I guess, YouTube star, because I was never a YouTube star at all. No one really knew who I was. I never had a viral video, but this production company still happened to just come across one of my videos, and it was a cover that I did of Sweater Weather by The Neighborhood. Yeah, have you heard their new album? It's so good. Wiped Out, oh my God, it's so good. You guys should listen to that. I know I should be promoting mine. Know It All is good as well, guys.
Know It All is pretty good.
Yeah, but that's a great album. Anyways, sorry, getting off topic. But I covered them, and they saw it. And long story short, they flew me and my dad out to New York to here to sing for them. And I sang for them, and we started working together, writing my own music with this guy named Sebastian Cole. Shout out Sebastian Cole, he's awesome. And yeah, from there, I just really loved the songs we were making and the demo, so I took my guitar and I went to every label you could think of and tried to get signed. Kind of like a job interview, just waiting for them to call back. And that's how Def Jam called back, so it was good.
And how old were you at this time?
I started making the songs and working with the production company when I was 17, and then I got signed to Def Jam. So that whole process was took about a year trying to get signed, and then I got signed when I was 18.
But when you got signed, you literally did not tell anyone, even your friends in school, right?
Yeah, I didn't tell anybody. Because I wanted to get by, I wanted to get through high school as an anonymous person. I didn't want to be that girl who sings. And because my school wasn't very big either, so kind of everyone kind of knew everyone. And I just wanted to be anonymous. I didn't want to have that whole and I wasn't sure if it was going to work either, so I didn't want to tell everyone, hey, I'm going to get signed, and then not get signed, and then they'll see you working, I don't know, at, a random store, So, yeah.
Had you even ever performed live yet at this point, or was it just on YouTube?
At this point, I started simultaneously doing stuff, little talent shows at school, open mics and things like that, just to get used to it. So a couple people knew I sang, quite a few people actually knew that I sang at this point, but they didn't know what I was doing after school, which was making these songs, going to the studio and stuff. Yeah.
In terms of, you said you wanted to be anonymous, and then I think about here, which is also kind of wanting to be anonymous at a party, wanting to disappear. Are you comfortable just with the idea of fame and being in the spotlight? Because in terms of some of these things you're saying, it seems like maybe you're not.
Yeah, you know what? I think that part is just something I have to get used to. I'm a creative. I like making music. I love performing it, but just having the attention on me for other reasons is always weird. It's just strange to me. That's just not something that I looked for. That's not something I aspired to do. It's just something that comes with what I love to do. So I have to get used to it, but I'm not looking for that side of things. So I'll probably just, stay kind of in the background of things. Yeah.
Well, has there been a mind-blowing brush with fame yet, or when you're just oh my God, this is I am no longer anonymous? When did that when did that light bulb go off?
Probably when it hasn't happened a lot yet, but when people just recognize me, just me walking, there's no sign that I'm a singer. I don't have a guitar. I'm just walking, and they're oh my God, can I take a picture with you? It's amazing, and it's awesome because it's about my music, and I know that because I haven't done anything else. I just put out music, and that's what people are gravitating towards. So it's awesome, but it's still weird. It's whoa, I'm not anonymous anymore. My face is known to some people, and that's scary but amazing, and it's a mixture of different emotions. It's really weird, strange.
How many I can only imagine what it was like after Drake posted a picture with you, or did you posted a picture with Drake? I don't remember which it was, but
I
once
did,
you do anything with Drake
he reposted
it,
he
then
reposted.
then it's over.
It's over. It was over. It was a Drake-filled night that night. It was all these things just happened at once. He did I met him, and then he performed, and then he posted the picture, and then he it was all these things just kept hitting me. I was oh, Drake, what? This is amazing. It was so crazy. It was just he just kept sneaking up on me the whole night. It was awesome. I love him. I'm such a big fan of his, and I guess he knew that because I called him out in every interview possible until he met me. So I guess he just initiated the meeting, and he was great to meet you. I'm a fan. I don't know if he was or not. Maybe he just lied. But he's awesome, so I'll take it. And then he posted the picture of us, which is so cool. I really, really like him. He's a great guy. You can't even tell that he's like Drake when you meet him. He's just like Drake.
And another huge person. I mean, he's kind of like the king of music in some ways, and the queen.
Yeah.
There, no offense to any Beyonce fans out there, but maybe right now is Taylor Swift, and Adele's about to have an album too. But Taylor Swift also was a big co-signer of your career early on. Like she tweeted about you, and that got you a ton of attention. What was that like?
That was awesome. She's so cool, and I feel like she's one of like the best songwriters and just one of the smartest people I think in the industry. With everything she does, she's so calculated and smart and obviously talented and so nice. So when I met her, I was like, is she going to be as nice as like I think she is? And she was 10 times nicer than I ever thought. She's incredible. It was so crazy. Oh my gosh, that was like the best night ever. Best Halloween ever, I would say.
Was it on Halloween?
It was.
Were you like, is this a prank? A Halloween
prank? Halloween
prank.
No, it was real. Very much reality. It was awesome.
It wasn't someone dressed as Taylor Swift. It was actually Taylor Swift.
No, it was actually Taylor Swift.
Right,
Taylor
cool.
Swift dressed as Olaf, if you guys must know, from Frozen. Yeah.
And so to bring it back to the album, you called it Know It All, which I actually thought was kind of a funny title for you because you're you're not a know-it-all. You're kind of like unassuming. You don't act like you know it all. But so why did you call it that?
I think that's kind of a sarcastic / ironic title for the album. And when I was trying to come up with a name for it, I was listening to all the songs, and I was trying to think what's like the common thread between all these songs. And I was thinking about it, and I think this album is very much an album about, like I said before, growing up. And with that comes themes of rebellion and vulnerability and confusion. And just me as a teen sometimes, I like to think that I know how life goes. And I'm like, no, I got this. Like, this is me. And I'm so stubborn sometimes, and I have all these opinions of how things are. And then I find out very quickly that that's not how they are at all, and I know absolutely nothing. So this is basically me just saying, here's a collection of 10 songs, and this is what I think I know about life, but I really don't know. But here, you can listen to it and take my opinion, and this is what I've learned, I guess, so far, or what I think I've learned. So it's kind of a sarcastic-y little title, like, I'm a know-it-all. And it actually comes from a line in my song called 17 that says, hey, thanks, that says, I'm a know-it-all, I don't know enough. So I think that line just sums up my whole life and the whole album. It's like, I'm a know-it-all, but I really don't know enough yet. That makes sense.
Who are some of the artists that influenced the album?
I think probably artists that have indirectly influenced. Like, I didn't try. I really wanted to make this album different from my influences because I didn't want to be cast as like, oh, you're like this person, especially because I'm new. But I think subconsciously again, or maybe indirectly influenced just everyone that I listen to, whether it's Amy Winehouse, who's a huge influence on me, I love her, or Drake, or Ed Sheeran, or Frank Ocean, all these amazing songwriters that are just so visual. I like visual writing, and I love clever writing. Taylor Swift is great at that too. So yeah, just a mixture, I guess. Different people.
And Amy Winehouse is actually your favorite artist I've read, right?
Yeah, she's my favorite. I love her.
Did you get to see the documentary on her that came out this year?
Yes, I saw it twice.
Me too.
So sad.
It is so sad.
You saw it twice too?
Yes, I did.
Did you notice things from the second time around that you didn't notice the first time?
Absolutely.
That's how I was.
Both times I still cried.
Yeah. Oh, you cried? I didn't cry. I've never cried to a movie before. Fun fact.
Really?
I don't know why, but I felt sad. I just didn't actually shed tears.
When is the last time that you cried?
Probably like a few days ago for something stupid. Like, I don't know. I don't even remember. Probably like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so frustrated. Well, like nothing. Yeah.
How often do you feel overwhelmed about everything that's happening?
Quite often. I'm not gonna lie. I think again, just going from someone who did absolutely nothing and just stayed in her room all the time to somebody who's now traveling the world, literally, and never home, and just becoming this person with a voice and somewhat of a public figure, that can be scary. But I think it's more amazing than anything. And the good outweighs the bad, thankfully, which is great. And this is why I'm still doing it. Why I'm still having fun doing it.
And you've gotten to travel the world. What's your favorite place that you've been to?
Oh my gosh, so many. I love Miami, which is kind of random, but I love it. And what else? I love Paris as well, even though right now things are, not doing very. I was actually just there, which is so sad. I can't believe. It's just heartbreaking. Yeah, I was just there. It's insane. But it is one of the most beautiful places, and that's why it's so sad to see that. It's like, oh my gosh. You think it's such a, peaceful, beautiful place, and sad. Anyways, yeah.
I think especially for everyone like in the music industry, the fact that a lot of it was at a concert hall,
Yeah.
is like just makes it hit home even more.
It's scary, yeah, because you could have been playing there, number one, and number two, I can imagine just feeling for the people playing there. Like, you might, like, I feel like I would take responsibility for that almost, even though it's not their fault. Like, I feel like if I was playing there, I'd feel like, oh my gosh, it's sad. It's very sad, but I'm praying for them, and life goes on. We just gotta hope for peace and hope people just figure out that, they gotta be happy and love each other.
Yeah, I'm definitely really curious about your next album, because this album is so based on kind of youth and growing up, and you are growing up really fast and just seeing these entirely new experiences. So I'm very curious about what your next album is going to sound like, and if it's still going to be sort of inspired by your youth or inspired by what you've been through over the past year.
So for next, I'm already thinking about it, to be honest. I know it's so weird because I just put out this one, but I guess it's a natural thing to think about the next. But I don't really know. I'm not really sure what I want it to be. It'll probably be, this is about this phase in my life, and the next one will probably be about that, whatever phase that is. So either I'll go through like a horrible heartbreak and it'll be like sad, or maybe did figure stuff out about life and I want to share that. So it'll be really know-it-all, or I don't know. I guess we'll get back to that in like a couple months.
I'm excited for that. So we're actually going to move on to audience Q&A.
Yeah.
Hi, Alessia.
Hi.
So, you're an amazing songwriter,
Thank you.
obviously, as we all know. And I love to write songs myself, but I feel as though anytime after I write a song, I just I go through like this state of like, oh, this is terrible. Like, why did I even write this? This is so generic. I hate it. So I was wondering, do you feel that too? And if so, how do you get over it?
Oh my goodness, all the time. I'm the worst. I think, yeah, all the time. I always think that. It's weird because I only just started writing songs like 2 years ago. I was never that person who was always writing songs. And I remember the first song I ever wrote by myself was Four Pink Walls, the one on the album and on the EP. And I was so nervous to do it. I was like, this is going to be so bad. And when I did it, I wrote it like on a crappy ukulele, and it sounded so bad. And I just remember showing it to my family and my team, and I was like, this is so bad. Like, I can't deliver this. This is so bad. But I think once you just worry about the message you're trying to get across, and because that message was so important to me, I just realized that it doesn't matter. You don't have to make a perfect song sometimes. It doesn't have to be perfectly clever or perfectly written. It's just, if it conveys a message, and if it's simple, just keep it simple, convey the message, and if it means something to you, then it can never be bad. And I think the message was important enough to me to put it out, and it turned out pretty good, I think. I don't hate it now, so it's good. I like it now. And the production worked out, and it's just simple, and just get your message across and make sure it means something. That's all I can say. But there's never going to be a time where you're going to be perfectly confident. I think it's just a natural thing as songwriters or as perfectionists to be like, oh, this is bad. But don't worry about it. I'm sure it's great. So thank you for your question. I hope it helped.
Hey, Alessia.
Hi.
Okay. So did you have any fear of rejection when releasing your songs? Because since your songs portray such truthful lyrics and have a different personalities that most fans are not used to seeing famous people have, did you have any fear of rejection that people are going to be like, oh, this is different, maybe it's a different I don't really like did you have a fear of that?
I guess a little bit at first, but then I just realized different is good, and there's so many new artists now that are showing that, and it works because it's themselves, you know what I mean? And I felt like it didn't matter to me at that point because I just had so much I wanted to say, and I'm too stubborn to not say it. So I said, let me just do it. And if people like it, they'll like it. And if not, at least it was myself. I would rather put out something that was honest to me than conform and just make up something that I didn't like and put that out and be loved for it, So I just thought it was right in my heart to do that. So yeah, hope that answered your question.
Hi, Alessia.
Hi.
My question to you is, if you had any advice for girls who are growing up and had any insecurities about themselves, so how to overcome any self-doubt or low self-esteem problems.
Yeah, that's something that I used to go through and still go through all the time. I think every girl does, whether you're in the music industry or you're not. It's something that's just so frustrating to me, and I have a song about that called Scars to Your Beautiful. I'll play that right now soon. But anyways, I think it's just so important to shut off all the noise because there's two main reasons for for self-esteem being lowered, and that's other people and ourselves. And I think we do it to ourselves a lot of the time. And the second you start saying I am good enough and I am confident in myself, then everyone will see that, and they have nothing to say after. You're like unstoppable because you believe in yourself, and it doesn't matter what people say. So turn off all the noise. Don't bring yourself down, because then everyone else will think they can do that to you too. It starts from you, I would say. So yeah.
Hey there.
Hi.
As a Canadian artist, do you feel that you face some barriers that non-Canadians don't face? And if you did, how did you overcome them and make it to the mainstream world?
Good question. Yeah, I think a lot of the time people believe that, if you're Canadian, you have to go to you have to move far away, like to LA or New York to make it or something. And I'm glad that I didn't have to do that. And I think social media is really breaking those barriers and putting stuff online, because now location doesn't really matter anymore. Your music can be from anywhere, and I'm glad. And I also think Canadians are kind of like the underdogs a little bit. We have a lot to prove. So, if you hear, oh, you're Canadian, I feel like I have to prove myself a little bit more. But I'm glad that once I do, people are shocked about it and they're happy. And I'm just glad that things are kind of changing for us Canadians. It's good. Yeah.
How you doing?
Hi.
I'm a
good.
huge fan. Your album's amazing, by
Thank
the way.
you.
So
Thank
I
you.
work at a high school in Brooklyn, and your song "Scars to Your Beautiful" is, reaching a lot of the students. I let some of the students hear it, and I thought it'd be important. We actually had a student just perform it at our event.
Oh,
so,
awesome.
So as an artist, how does it feel that a song like that is reaching to young teens?
That's awesome. That especially with that song, I wanted people to listen. I needed people to listen. I'm now given a platform and I'm given a voice, so I want to say something important, because it's more than just entertainment to me. I want to say something. So the fact that people are really taking it in and seeing it as more than just music is all I've ever wanted. So I'm so glad. And thank you for telling me that. That's awesome. That's all I've ever wanted that song to do. So, and all my songs to do. So thank you. It's good.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your questions. Thank you.